I'll start with just sharing my story. I was in an abusive relationship for several years, and I knew it was abusive. I knew I had to get out of it. It wasn't just physical abuse, because it was absolutely physical abuse, but there was also a really strong psychological abuse, which automatically happens when someone is hitting you and telling you that they love you and need you and all those things you want to hear from a partner, and you made them. You made them hurt you. So it makes me feel sad, and so it's sort of a melancholy that comes over me when I think about it, because when I was going through my own situation, it's sort of coming out of it is what catapulted me into into the work that I do now. I What kind of work do I do? Well, I help people. I've always helped people, different people, different needs. I've always had that feeling inside of me, to help. You know, um, People come to me for help. So specifically with domestic violence, when I got through my situation and finally left, which it took several times, several attempts at leaving that relationship for me to actually break free. And even after we divorced and moved on in that way, it was still a psychological aspect that I had to, emotional and psychological aspect that I had to deal with. So for me, I had already went to school for a while, to college for psychology, as my undergraduate major, and so I returned to school after I left that relationship, returned to school to finish my degree. But in doing so, discovered that I wanted to specifically help women who are going through a domestic violence, intimate partner violence relationship. Because I know for me, what helped me the most is talking to people who actually have been through it themselves and seeing them on the other side of health. Being abused in a relationship, even though you may be able to put on your makeup and grab your purse and hit the door every day, um, it wears on you. It is heavy. Thinking about leaving. When are you going to leave? Is it going to be today? Is he all right today? Are we going to get into a fight? All those things, they weigh you down. And so for me, it was really important to to help other people navigate through that. And so one of the ways that I sought healing for myself is that I continued my education and continued to go on to graduate school for clinical mental health counseling, which really led me to just digging deeper into myself and creating my own space, so to speak. I began to learn how I can also express myself so that I can continue to feel liberated. Because a lot of times, once your liberation has been like compromised, it can be a sensitive issue, and I think that for me, it's a very sensitive issue. Ain't nobody stepping on my freedom. Nope, not now, not never. It's not cute. It's not cute. So I was able to do that and graduate with that master's degree, which really empowered me, but it also taught me how to learn so I can learn and I can do anything that I imagine. And so, and so here I am. I'm still in this space of helping people. I primarily like to help women, but women, men, children. We're all human and we all fall short of perfection. And so we're also all dealing with trauma in our lives, lived trauma, vicarious trauma. Um, we're all dealing with that. So for this month of October, I think it's important because this is Domestic Violence or IPV, Intimate Partner Violence Awareness Month. I just want to really talk about how to know that you're in a violent relationship and how to get out of it. Number one, knowing that you're there. Okay, a lot of times we get into denial about it. We make excuses for our partner or family member who is hurting us and abusing us. And so the first thing is to like really sit with yourself and be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. And once you're honest with yourself, share. Tell somebody, not just anybody. Tell somebody who is going to hold you accountable. That's probably the hardest step because once you tell somebody else, it's like they're going to look at you like, you still doing this? How long are you going to do that? For me, it was my 15-year-old daughter at the time who gave me that look. And this wasn't her father, this was her stepfather, and he had been with us since she was maybe 7 or 8. And she gave me that look, like, Mom, really? Really? Never disrespectful, never cussed me out about it, just, Mommy. And I'll never forget her face, and I'll never forget how I felt when I saw her face. And I knew that for me to be the best mom that I could be, the best person that I could be, I had to get away from this man. And I could not imagine life without him. I could barely picture it because he had really gotten to my head. And I'm pretty fucking smart. So that emotional aspect, it's not logical. It's not logical. So we need support. It's difficult as somebody on the outside of going through to support someone who's going through that. You don't want to go to their house. You don't want to hang out with that guy. And I don't want to. I care about what happens to us. I care about what happens to men and women in these situations, right? But for my abusers, for the people who find it difficult to keep their hands off of other people when they get upset, get help. Get honest with yourself. Assess your behavior. Look at your relationships. Look at your relationships and ask yourself, am I fair? Do I listen? Do I treat this other human being in my life as an equal who has equal rights? Do I practice justice while we out here in the streets hollering justice? Do I practice justice in my home? Be honest with yourself. Even if it's your children. Am I just in how I am treating other people? Especially the people who I care about the most? The ones who hold me down? The ones who feed me? We have to make those assessments. We have to. I think it's especially important to talk to somebody one of the things that helped me tremendously in my journey is art. Art in all its forms. Specifically for me, I'm a writer and a poet, so I wrote poetry about how I felt and what I was going through. I started to participate in community activities around raising awareness for violence against women and, domestic violence, IPV, whatever the title is. My first experience was participating in vagina monologues. I was in the vagina monologues at UB, University of Buffalo. When I went back, and I was, a returning student and an older student, and it was just really regenerative for me to return to school and to be around so much young energy. But even in that circle, we all were dealing with trauma. Young, beautiful, smart women, right? So that sort of opened the door and started my journey into telling other people's stories about trauma and creating spaces where it's okay to feel, where it's okay to, let your hair down about whatever it is you need to let go of. I just keep seeing crumbs in my hair. Hit me up at DayatraAmber.com. Send me a message. Let me know. And I will reach back out to you. All right, y'all. Let's love each other. Love more. Stress less.